make the headline.
On the highlight, military plans another Python dance. Ex-minister returns to U.S.
The persons behind the headline.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody. We have a vision for New India, and that is the foundation that will allow us to do a more progressive state tomorrow.
And your reactions to the headline.
Mr. Speaker, each level, as reported last week, under his government, 40 million Nigerians are now mad. As reported by his government, so when the next level, the one of us will be completely mad.
My own is that the fake promise that he used to deceive Nigeria. This time around, we are waiting for him.
Do you want to keep tabs with trending national, state, and local issues? Then listen to Open Parliament every weekday on Family Love 99.9 FM. Umahia. Open Parliament. When the issues are burning.
When I tell you that the man is confused, the man doesn't know his direction. He's saying that he was not prepared. He cannot get something from nothing. So they are just trying to find something to blame for the failure. So they failed and failed mostly.
Well, it's a beautiful Wednesday, the 25th day in the month of January 2023. A very good morning to you, beautiful people. Welcome to the frequency and welcome to the program Open Parliament, where we get to bring you the biggest stories in Nigeria, in Abia, and beyond. My name is Mr. C. Delighted to have you join us this morning. Oh well, the big news and some of the big stories has to do with, first off, the Central Bank of Nigeria and its governor, Godwin Emefiele, saying that the 31st January deadline it announced for the validity of the old 200 naira, 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes definitely remains. And he says, well, unfortunately, no good news for those who feel that there should be a shift in the deadline. And away from that, to political stories right now, where the Google candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Professor Gregory Ibe, has refuted allegations that he presented a fake school certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission during the submission of credentials to the electoral umpire. Well, the next has to do with the boss that greeted the appearance, if you like, yesterday in Abia State of the presidential candidate of the APC, the governing party in Nigeria. Talking the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Also much buzz was created about the state governor releasing for use of that particular event, so the APC, the stadium. We'll talk on this and definitely more on the program this morning. And with me to do just that, I'm sure you know already, our regular guest every other Wednesday, talking about pioneer inductee, National Integrity Hall of Fame, a recipient of Zix Award on Innovation and Creativity, a fellow of Ethical Leadership from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, a former Secretary General of Argon, a Board of Trustee member of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, and Interpol Systems Consultant and Security Expert, Sir Chikwe Udensi. We got him virtually this morning. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. C. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Well, let's start first off from somewhere, and I'm sure for those who are your party faithful, they would be keen to find out what's the latest with the court cases. Is there any development you'd want to update us on?
Not really. There is not much of a development. In your absence, the last open parliament session, I did elaborate that we have finished the lower court and we are now in appeal court. In fact, all the processes and the adoptions of all processes have been completed in the Court of Appeal. So what we are waiting for right now is the judgment of the Court of Appeal. From there, we take it, if it becomes necessary, to higher levels, or if we choose to settle it at that level, it probably will be settled at that level. That's what it is right now with the courts. So we are waiting for the judgment of the appeal court.
Oh, well, let's get to other issues now. Before we get to the comments made by Professor Gregory Ibe and a little bit of a swift away from the allegations that you brought on this platform about his certificate, saying, hey, there's definitely no truth in those reports. A PVC collection, because of course citizens that need their PVC to be able to vote come election day, be it the presidential and national assembly elections or the governorship and state houses of assembly elections. The deadline for the collection is in just a couple of days. What do you make of the state government declaring Monday and Tuesday for citizens who haven't gotten theirs to go get theirs?
It is very commendable, Mr. C. I commend the state government for availing, especially those who are in the working for government, to the opportunity to go and collect their PVCs. It's very, very important, especially if you consider the fact, Mr. C, that very close to 85% of the PVCs that ought to have been in the hands of voters are not there right now. The review of voter register that amounted to several people. In fact, I was a little disappointed with the ages of those who were going to collect their voters' cards for the first time. I saw people who were probably in their 50s or 40s. For the first time, they were going to collect their PVCs. And I guess, Mr. C, that it had to do with the level of credibility that the electoral process have brought in with the introduction of the BVAS, the Biomodal Voter Accreditation System. That has made people a little bit more comfortable going to have voters card and to be able to vote. Because before now, Mr. C, your vote does not count. So it created some level of disenchantment on the part of the voters. But I thank those who chose to review the Electoral Act to make sure that the INEC is given the authority and the power to modify and ensure that there's some level of credibility of the electoral process. So this is what has created the drive for people to go and collect or register as voters. But the process has finished. The process has been concluded. But a chunk of the cards are uncollected. Uncollected, Mr. C. So, and if you do not have your card, you cannot vote. I saw a few people who were in court trying to impress on the courts, especially Justice Binta Nyako's court, trying to impress on the courts to allow those who have registered to vote but do not have their voters card to vote. It's not possible, because the Constitution and the Electoral Act provides very specifically that you must be accredited with a card. Except maybe tomorrow there's some amendments in that process or in the provisions of the law. But right now, you must have to have a card. So I commend the state government for giving, especially the state workers and those who earn their living through the state, 2 extra days, Monday and Tuesday, to go and collect their PVCs. But we have so much uncollected PVCs right now. And you know, on the 31st of this month, Mr. C, it will be a different ballgame altogether.
Now we're talking about the state government. Just a little matter for quite a number of persons who might want to say that. The government releasing to the APC in Abia State for use with regards to the welcome of the presidential candidate that took place yesterday, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is that commendable, you think? A lot of buzz has been created by that. On a normal day, should that trigger commendations to the government?
Well, because it is not the norm, Mr. C, that is where commendation comes to play. I first of all have to commend His Excellency the Governor of Abia State for that magnanimity. That is exactly the way it ought to be, Mr. C. This is exactly, we must have to have the norm where government is totally impartial with provision of the various utilities and facilities that the states control for the use, especially for political activities. Let me commend the state government for this magnanimity. We do this knowing that not too long ago, when the P2B wanted to flag off in Nasarawa, he was prevented from doing that by the state government, and he had a very poor outing because of the inability of government to allow them use facilities they have even paid for prior to the dates that were scheduled. Mr. C, it has always been a problem, especially if you consider also that ironically, state government of Abia State allowed Tinubu the use of the stadium. Let's go to Lagos and want to use the stadium. The Tinubu APC controls Lagos. Go to Lagos and want to put billboards for political purposes when you are not an APC candidate. You will meet all kinds of roadblocks. So if you just oppose what happened in Abia State with what is happening in other parts of the country, you cannot help but commend the state government for that magnanimity. Mr. C, one of the disturbing ones that happened not too long ago, I think it was in Gombe or was it in Bauchi, where P2B's was denied landing rights for his private jet. The private jet was to land. It was denied the access to land. And this is one of the reasons why some of us are very skeptical about the issue of giving state governors the command and control of the use of arms. If you remember about the state police, when they were suggesting that there should be state police, I'm not against state police, but I'm against allowing such an organ, a very sensitive organ, to allow a state governor to be in charge of the command and control. So see, look at what is happening in Imo State right now. See what is happening. We have 14 reports already where the Dubago allegedly, Dubago that is under the control of Mr. Hope Uzodimma, who is the governor of the state, and also a few ones that happened also in Ebonyi, where Dave was accused of using the Dubago to hurt its citizens. I am very, very much concerned about the activity of some state governments not allowing opposition to use facilities that ordinarily are supposed to be meant for public use. We must have to extend our hands of honesty, friendship, and fellowship with everybody. When you are in government, you don't close the gap. You don't create enmity because you're in a different climate. Mr. C, I hope you remember not too long ago, my attention was called to a comment by one of our brothers, Honorable Obinna Chita, who is an honorable member in the Abia State House of Assembly, criticizing me for hosting Professor Ikonne in my home. Professor Ikonne is a governorship candidate of PDP. I am in ABGA. But that does not mean that we should close our hands, close our doors to opposition. No. We must have to exercise a sizable level of friendship and tolerance too, effective tolerance. I was also criticized when I hosted Mr. Peter B in my house. So many people said, oh, Udensi is beginning to enter arrangement to join Labour Party. It's very disturbing. Even when I hosted His Excellency, the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, in my home, there were lots of criticism. So they said I have jumped guns into PDP. It is very pathetic. We must have to have some level of tolerance, some level of acceptability, some level of reach. Politics does not enclose you. It does not give you some bad eyes to what is right. I hosted my good friend and brother, Alex Oti, the Labour Party Labour candidate in Abia State, when his bank was being formally opened. I hosted the whole people in my house. 2 days after, I saw some write-up somewhere that Udensi now joins OT in Labour Party. You begin to wonder, what kind of parochial people do we have in the system? What kind of level of understanding do we have in the system? It's unfortunate. Last night, Mr. C, I hosted Kolade Alabi. Kolade Alabi is one of the directors in the directorate of APC. They came with a team, a great team of them. They are in charge of the security department, financial security department of the campaign. And they came to me to liaise with me. My house was filled up. And people were wondering, was I hosting a party arrangement in my house? It was reaching out to people. Even when the deputy governorship candidate of YPP in Abia State visited me, eyes were popping. Is he going to do something else? So we must have to, Mr. C, comment what is right and also criticize what is wrong. In criticizing, we don't do destructive criticism. We must have to be involved in constructive criticism. If we see what is right, we comment it. If we see what is wrong, we criticize it and provide solutions on how best it can be done. If you ask me, that is my attitude, and I commend the Abia State government for their generosity and doing what is right. It's a shift from what the norm is. It is a shift from what we obtain from even APC-controlled governments. I commend the state government for that.
Well, in case you just joined us, it's Open Parliament, live on the frequency. Our guest is Interpol Systems consultant and security expert, Chikwe Udensi, who is speaking with us virtually this morning. My name is Mr. C. Well, let's move on to security issues now, if you like, and that's because the governor of Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, has said he's very ready to provide surety for the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Well, he did state this in an interview recently on a television station that we actually monitored. What do you make of this call by the governor of Anambra State? Well, he was joined several other notable Southeasterners who have called for the release of the leader of IPOB.
Well, Mr. C, that call was made at the flag of the presidential campaign of ABGA in Oka. so many people considered it to be a political comment. Even the Attorney General of the Federation, when he was accosted by members of the press, Malami said that such matters are not matters for rallies. Such matters are matters that will be taken through its appropriate channels. If you don't do the right thing the right way, you're not getting it right. Though it is one of the things we are asking for, that Nnamdi Kanu ought to be released, because that is the engine that will effectively create the reconciliation that must have to happen nationwide. So that it is not a matter for political campaigns. The Attorney General had requested the Governor of Anambra State to take the normal procedure, and I agree with him. Absolutely, I agree 100% with him. The normal procedure here ought to be for the governor, knowing that we have this matter in court, the matter can take a judicial process of asking the judiciary to do the needful, or the matter can now go to the presidency through the Attorney General of the Federation, knowing that the Attorney General is the one who advises the president on matters of prerogative of mercy. It is the Attorney General that have to direct Mr. President or advise Mr. President that this is the right thing to be done. So these two things have not been done, at least not to our knowledge. Right way to go. So the right way to go is to initiate a process. Excuse me.
Sorry about that.
Yes, initiate a process in the judiciary because the matter is already in court, or commence a process where the president that has the prerogative of mercy can effectively do that. This is exactly what you remember, Mr. C, we have been advocating. Over time, we have been advocating that the major problem, the major bottleneck to very peaceful solutions in the Southeast especially, is the continuous incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu, especially Mr. C, where the lower court and the appeal court have directed that Nnamdi Kanu should be released and released unconditionally. Government have refused to act on the instruction, the directive of courts of competent jurisdiction, cast some level of seriousness on the part of government, federal government, to make sure that peace exists in Southeast. I'm one of those who have written several letters to the government. I've communicated that Attorney General on several occasions. I've had cause to have 2 meetings with him in his office. And I said it in no unequivocal terms, in very clear terms, Mr. C, that the major problem we have today, the greatest problem of insecurity in Southeast today, is the continuous incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu, especially when courts of competent jurisdiction have indicated that man ought to be released. So if you want peace, you cannot ask for peace where there is injustice. Injustice and peace, they do not coexist. They're not friends. One takes precedence over other. If we want a just society, we must have to obey court orders. We must have to be prudent with our judgments where it has to do with court orders. And where this is lacking, you don't expect much peace to exist. So I take this opportunity to also ask the government at the national level to please ensure that Nnamdi Kanu is released.
Now, talking about the release, talking about the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I mean, you just like you've done now, have always been in this position on the call for his release, and just like you've stated as well, emphatically, that this would help for the peace and security of the southeast part of the country. And the president, despite appeals by notable Southeasterners, has emphasized that, hey, we cannot do this outside the purview of the judiciary. And now, following the comments by the governor of Anambra State. Quote, he said, on Southeast security, we need Nnamdi Kanu. All stakeholders around the table, grant him administrative bail, and I am prepared to provide surety. You think administrative bail is the way to go, away from the judicial process?
First and foremost, Mr. C, the president said very clearly, when, if I remember who went there, it was Mbazulika Mechi, may his soul rest in peace. He has just died. 90-something-year-old, one of the last surviving First Republic Minister, Mbazulika Mechi. He led a delegation to Mr. President. And Mr. President said, no, you're asking me to break the law. Let us allow the judicial process to take its course. Mbazulika Mechi went back home, though not very happy, but was very confident in the judicial process. As I talk to you now, the judicial process has taken its course, and the appeal court directed federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu. So if it is an honest disposition from Mr. President that the judicial process ought to take its course, why still keep Nnamdi Kanu when the courts have said he must be released? I don't know if you understand my line of reasoning. I'm saying, if we are saying that we are waiting for the courts, now the courts have pronounced that Nnamdi Kanu ought to be released, and the courts have given very clear pronouncements on the issue. What then is your problem in continuous keeping Nnamdi Kanu and allowing the whole of Southeast to still be engulfed in all kinds of mayhems and banditry? That is my concern. And another concern I have is that we don't have enough representation from Southeast. Ordinarily, the governors of Southeast would have come together. Should it have been the governor of Anambra State? Is Nnamdi Kanu from Anambra State? Where is the governor of Abia State? Where is the government of Abia State? They should be in the forefront. The government of Abia State should be in the forefront in the fight for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. They must not be in the background. Why are we going to allow Anambra State governor to be the one to raise the issue, and then the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Malami, to be the one to give advice on how best it can handle? Whereas the whole Southeastern governors, apart from Anambra State, have been in the limbo on this issue. Mr. C, I am also disturbed that it was only the governor of Anambra State that visited Nnamdi Kanu in detention. Only him. Only the governor of Anambra State. Where is my governor? Where is the governor of the state that Nnamdi Kanu comes from? He ought to be in the forefront to ensure that Nnamdi Kanu is released, and released timely. The continuous detention, the continuous incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu is causing and creating all this kind of mayhem. And I know that by now, if Nnamdi Kanu was released, by now, the nation would have started healing process to make sure the nation is one and inseparable. That is my thinking, and that is my take, Mr. C.
Open Parliament still live on the frequency with a guest, Chikwe Udensi. We'll be taking a break shortly, and then when we return on the other side, we'll be looking at the comments by Professor Gregory Ibe, where he did refute allegations that he presented a fake school certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, during the submission of credentials to the electoral umpire. Well, he didn't stop at that. He also vowed that his opponents at the party primary of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, the likes of Agest and General Ijoma and Ijoma retired, would pay dearly for scandalizing his name. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It has been said that 70% of home buyers settle for their first home when they see it. Over time, we have created a wide range of happy customers by building the homes that suit their needs. Why settle for average when you can have a luxury home inside a gated estate in Lagos? Welcome to Kenzo Luxury Homes, a development by Kenzo Group of Companies Nigeria Limited. Our featured home is a gorgeous private home of 5 bedrooms with a room BQ located at a serene and beautiful environment at Lekki Palm City Estate, Ajah, Lekki, Lagos. Finely crafted and designed specifically to give you the luxury and comfort you deserve. Why make this your next home? The features include 5 bedrooms with a room BQ, spacious living room, all-room en-suites, stunning master bedroom, modern fitted kitchen, serene neighborhood, carefully designed staircase, private swimming pool, detailed finishing, and large compound space. This home sits on 500 square meters. The title is General C of O. Price 130 million naira. For details and inspection, please call 0903-717-9034. Be a smart investor. Guarantee your family a secured future with Kenzo Luxury Homes.
Many thanks for keeping it locked right here. It's Open Parliament, the midweek edition of the program with guest Interpol Systems consultant and security expert who is virtually in the program, Sir Chikwe Udensi. Oh well, before the break, we did say to have a reaction from a guest on the comments made by Professor Gregory Ibe, wherein he refuted allegations that he presented a fake school certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission during the submission of credentials to the electoral umpire. Well, he vowed that his opponent at the party primaries, his party, the APGA, that ABGA, Sir Chikwe Udensi and General Ijoma Joma, behind the allegations, would pay dearly for scandalizing his name. Well, in his words, quote, "I have been told that my opponents, Chikwe Udensi and General Ijoma, have been spreading false and wicked rumors on air about me, alleging that I presented another person's work certificate to our party. That is not only mischievously preposterous, but also malicious, since it is an established fact that I attended the reputable boys' high school Ehube, Okigwe, and successfully took the West African School Certificate examination in that same institution in 1983. Therefore, I didn't need to forge papers to present another person's certificate since I have mine." Part of the statement read. I'm sure you might have seen it or probably heard, sir. What do you make of those? You were the first to bring that to fore, and you did that on this platform.
Thank you very much, Mr. C. Let me first of all condemn the attitude and the practice of most radio stations, including Love FM. Let me condemn your disregard, total disregard to the rule of law. Mr. C, you're a lawyer, and you know that we must have to obey court orders. I am so disappointed that Love FM and some other stations will continue to call Gregory Ibe candidate of ABGA, when a court of competent jurisdiction have nullified that process and have requested that nobody should answer the candidate of the party until a new primaries is conducted. I'm surprised that you are also aware that there is no stay of execution. The claim that there was a stay of execution from that is a false claim.
So you're saying the stay of execution has not been granted yet?
It has not been granted. It was never granted. In fact, it was the last appeal court session that they even withdrew the motion. The motion was never moved. The motion was never granted. So there was no stay of execution. Mr. C, I also believe that the information dissemination process in the country, we must have to have an investigative arm to it. The issue of Gregory Ibe's certificate forgery came to light in November. Oh, no, not November. In June and July, immediately after the primaries. It was not Chikwe Udensi that first put this in public domain. It was first of all put by our brother Chikwe son in his court document, in court papers. It was secondly being put by General Ijoma in his court papers. In my own court papers, I didn't put that. I did not put it because I got to know about it late. If I knew about it, and with what I know now, it would have been a major issue. Because our brother Gregory Ibe presented not to INEC. He did not present to INEC. In fact, he presented no certificate at all from the O level to INEC. No. He presented it to the party. He presented as part of the conditions for him to be cleared to take part in the primaries. He presented it. Well, if he did not present it to INEC, that is where my brother Chikwe said his tentacles were kicked up. Chikwe said his inability to produce or provide that document to INEC caused him to commence the investigation of the document. Mr. C, I want to put more time to productive sector. As I talk to you right now, both P2B, our brother in the Labour Party, and also Atiku Abubakar and APC presidential candidate Tinubu, they've all indicated and given us the go-ahead to work with them in the area of security. And also, I'm also pursuing my matters in court without necessarily going to the area of his certificate. Mr. C, in all honesty, I seem to have more sympathy for Mr. Gregory Ibe than blame. I seem to have more sympathy for him than blame. The sympathy I have for him is that he's in a very bad position right now. The bad position he is right now is that, number one, it is not only the party he has submitted those documents to. Other institutions are illicit of those documents that are not his. And also, if you want to put a lie on top of another lie, you create more problem for yourself. Last week, or thereabout, Mr. C, his handlers presented a certificate purporting to have been issued by WAEC. It was a GCE of 1983 in the name of Gregory Ibe. Mr. C, this GCE has only 2 credits, very low credits. So the question is, if you want to go into a criminal proceeding against anybody, you must have to have a motive. The question is, what is the motive of Gregory Ibe to use somebody else's certificate to go to school? It has answered itself by what they did. What they did is to provide a certificate that has only 2 credits. Nobody can enter into any university, into any polytechnic, even teacher training college with 2 credits today. You cannot. Even yesterday. Mr. Gregory Ibe said he did his A-levels. Mr. C, I did my A-levels in Government College Owerri. You cannot enter Government College with 2 credits. You cannot. Without English and mathematics. Without English and maths, no university can accept you. So now we know the motives. We know the reason behind Mr. Gregory Ibe going to use somebody else's certificate to enter for studies. We have now know the motives. But you see, I understand also that the matter has gone to court. Mr. Gregory, in one of the
Who took the matter to court?
I was told 3 people have gone to court on criminal charges against Gregory. I'm not aware of the position of those matters in court right now, because I told you I've been very busy trying to help the presidential candidates on security matters. We are trying to put in some blueprint for the nation and for states to ensure that our security is handled timelessly. This is a more important national issue. Mr. C, the greatest problem we have today in the country that has affected every facet. It has affected education, it has affected economy, it has affected healthcare, it has affected everywhere. It's insecurity. And if you don't have it put together and properly tackled, it will never ease the problems of the society today. So we are busy trying to put this together. I did not pay attention to all these stories about Mr. Gregory Bay, knowing that the matters are in court.
Did you at any point in time approach Professor Greg to apologize with regards to this comment about certificate forgery?
Mr. C, I heard what several people talked about my visiting Gregory Bay. And I also heard what Mr. Gregory Bay said according to my own, with regards to my own visit. Mr. C, we must have to have decent members of the society handling affairs of the society. If what I heard Gregory Bay said is true, then I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned about himself. And Mr. C, I went to Mr. Gregory Bay after I called him on the phone. I called him on the phone because I listened to his program on television. His program on television, he said very clearly, Chikwe Udensi is my brother. Chikwe Udensi is my friend. If there are allegations against me and Chikwe Udensi knows about it, he ought to ask me first before going public. This is what Mr. Gregory said. And Mr. C, you cannot fault that. It's an honest position. I felt that what he said was right. If I hear any allegation against my brother or friend, the right thing to do is to go to him first of all, present the idea before going public. So I felt guilty that I did the wrong thing. And I called him on the phone and went to see him in his house in Uturu. When I arrived at his house, I told him, I heard what you said on radio. I heard what you said on television, that Chikwe Udensi ought to come to you. Verify information from you first before going public. Nothing can be more honest than that. So I'm very sorry if I have gone to public without verifying from you. I ought to be a friend, I ought to be a brother, and I ought to do the right thing. I apologize to him for going public without coming to him. And I then said, look at the facts of the matter. Look at my investigation. My investigation shows that you fraudulently used somebody else's certificate. Look at it. I gave it to him. And I asked him, point blankly, my brother Gregory Bay, is this certificate your certificate? He said, no, it is not a certificate. He told me clearly. And I agreed with him.
Which of the certificates are you talking about? Is it the one that carried his name, or is it the one?
You should know that what happened is that because Mr. Gregory Bay did not have proper qualifications to enter a university in 1983 when he took his school certificate, he did not get school certificate. What he presented us now as his certificate is GCE with 2 credits. But what was supplied is a certificate with 6 credits, an alpha, about 3 or 4 alphas and 2 credits. But the actual one that ought to be Gregory Bay is only 2 credits. This is exactly the motive that made him to use somebody else's certificate. Having used somebody else's certificate, you should be involved in damage control and not being arrogant about it. You can't be arrogant when you're on the wrong side of the law. The truth remains that I, Chikwe Udensi, have done substantial investigation. I I am satisfied with what I'm saying.
Well, you're mentioning that he took the GC 1983, but he has come out to say, hey, come on, I attended the reputable boys' high school Ehobe in Ekugwe, and I successfully took the West African School Certificate Examination in the same institution in 1983.
Well, Mr. C, don't listen to what anybody says. Listen to what the facts are. Let him show you the certificate he said he has, even the one they published. It's a GCE. It's not a WAEC. It is a GCE. It's not a West African School Certificate. WASC, I'm sorry. It's a GCE. And that GCE shows only 2 credits. With 2 credits, you cannot enter any higher institutions in Nigeria. You can't enter any higher institution in Nigeria with 2 credits. So this was the motive that made him in 1992 to now use the certificate of Joseph Ibe, removing the name Joseph and putting Gregory. This is deep investigation, we found that. And the issue that he did not submit it to INEC, it is true. It was not submitted to INEC. It was only submitted to the party. And apart from the party, it was submitted to several institutions right now, which we are aware of. And these several institutions must have to undergo some process of swearing to affidavits that Gregory Best submitted this certificates to them. So the issue of he's saying that Chikwe Udensi will pay some dear penalty.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because he said you're gonna pay dearly for what he calls scandalizing his name.
Well, I don't understand what he means by paying dearly. I do not understand it. If he means taking laws into his hands, I'll take it very serious and I'll deal with him very seriously. But if he thinks about going to court, well, that's understandable. We can be in court. But I cannot be threatened by anybody, by any stretch of imagination. If he dare threatens me, I will brutalize him. I'm a lot more higher than him in that area. Don't let him not try any threats on me whatsoever. I will not accept any threats from him. So if he wants to go to court, he has the choice of going to court. But if he comes with any lousy threats, I will take it very serious too. And I will not accept any form of threat by anybody who have violated the law. Extremely, I made proper investigation. And I can send to you the affidavits sworn by the deputy registrar of WAEC. He swore to an affidavit that this certificate does not belong to Gregory Ibe. It belongs to Joseph Ibe. Gregory Ibe.
You have that evidence?
Oh yes, it's sworn by. It's in court already. It has been filed in court process, I'm told.
Okay.
Evidence sworn by the deputy registrar, compliance of WAEC. The deputy registrar have sworn to an affidavit that they did not issue this document to Gregory Ibe. They issued it to Joseph Ibe. So he should be in the process of making sure that he mends his ills. He shouldn't be in the process of showing arrogance in whatever form or shape, because nobody, at least not Chikwe Udensi, would tolerate that kind of arrogance from anybody who has broken the law.
0816-1115-955 or 0701-651-4107. Again, 0816-111-5955 or 0701-651-4107. 1 minute if you want to react. Open Parliament still. Hello, good morning. Do call us back if you can. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Pastor.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Vincent and I'm calling from Mahatia.
Your name is what?
Vincent and I'm calling from Mahatia.
Welcome. 1 minute.
Thank you. Yeah, I have one or two questions for Mr. Chikwe Udensi. I listened carefully to all your analysis so far. You've mentioned how you hosted the global candidate of the party, EDP. And in your analysis, you talk about having hosted the presidential candidates of several parties in Nigeria. Now, you didn't make any mention of having hosted any party member of APGA, either people seeking for federal houses seats. Why is it that you're not
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'll relay.
Why is that you're not doing anything to help any member of APGA? Is it that you are no longer an APGA party member or what? I want you to clarify that.
Thank you. You've hosted several presidential candidates. You haven't hosted, to his knowledge, any APGA or done anything to help any APGA member or candidate.
Well, I've hosted Gregory Bay in my house. In fact, I've hosted him once, and then his delegation, I've hosted him once again. If he's talking about the presidential candidate of APGA, I'm not the one to go to him. You heard about people coming to me to seek for my advice and seek for my help. You heard about Atiku coming to me to seek for my advice and seek for my help. And also Tinubu sending the delegation to me to seek for advice and help. And I will render those help to those who seek it. I have never received a telephone call from the presidential candidate of APGA. I have never spoken to him. I hope one day we will speak, and then we'll be able to find ways to work together. I have never heard from him, never spoken to him, I never even met him before. So I don't know how we can relate, not being able to meet. I guess maybe the problem is either his or my own problem. Or maybe I'm the one that ought to go to him. Or maybe he is the one that ought to come to me. And not until that happens, there is no meeting point yet.
Okay. Back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Singh.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sir Chikwe Udensi.
Good morning, sir.
I always like to enjoy your programs, Udensi. You always say the truth. But what I want to know, as it stands now, who is the authentic national chairman of APGA?
Okay, thank you. Who is the authentic national chairman of APGA? Is this question?
Well, I have not been in place to know. I had a few comments about people that there are some amendments somewhere. Right now, as I talk to you, the chairman of APGA is Ozombu Victor Oye. Except maybe tomorrow a court of competent jurisdiction changes it. But right now, what we have on the records is that Ozombu Victor Oye is the chairman of the party at the national level. If tomorrow, we are not abiding people, we always believe in the rule of law. If tomorrow a court of competent jurisdiction, or for whatever circumstance there is, we are told that it is no more Victor Oye, whosoever the party says is the next person, we will go with him, or whosoever the law or the court says is the candidate, sorry, not the candidate, is the chairman of the party, that's whom we will go for.
Okay, let's take one more and then call it a wrap. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sir Chikwe Udensi.
Good morning, sir.
I remember Comrade Uche Okoroka. I'm calling from Opera Avenue.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. My take this morning is on that burning issue concerning Professor Greg Ibe and the alleged certificate forgery and all that. I think APGA, both at the national and in Abia State, they are derailing from what they are supposed to do. And now, as a supporter of Professor Greg Ibe that I am, I want to advise him to use every legal means to prove his detractors wrong. Chikwe Udensi, I'm from the same local government with you. I know you are a good man, but I want to tell you the way you are going about this 2023 politics is not good. There are some certain things you do in politics. You give, you take, you lose some. What you are doing now and some other aspirant is trying to disbalance APGA's chances of winning this 2023 election. It's unfortunate we find ourselves in this type of situation.
Okay.
So Greg should do the needful. He should use every legal means to prove his detractors wrong. I will also advise him privately.
Thank you. Well, your reaction?
Let me give a quick answer to that, Mr. C. Yeah, I'm happy that the young man spoke the way he did. I'm also happy he says that Chikwe Udensi is a good man. I don't want to see myself as a good man. I want to see myself as a man who does what is right. When I went to see my brother and friend, Professor Greg Ibe, I advised him, do what is right. I told him very clearly. I was in his house for almost 2 hours, Mr. C. I told him to do what is right. If you are wrong, take a bold step. If you are right, take a bold step. You don't have to be on the fence for anything whatsoever. And I told him point blankly that I have done proper investigation. I mean, if my investigation is right, for which I have done it beyond, if I tell you the extent of my investigation now, Mr. C, you'll be surprised and shocked. I told him, even if Abga wants to allow you to go for governorship, you will have a problem, because the whole information is in public domain and it has no time lapse. It is not like the processes we filed that must be filed in 14 days. No. These criminal matters are already in public domain. It has no time lapse. So you must have to do what is right. If you have taken a wrong step in life, which most people do sometimes, if you have taken that wrong step, you take a bold step. The bold step is to accept your fault, accept your mistakes, and do what is right. We must not cover evil with evil. We must not cover a lie with a lie. The more you cover a lie, the more you create problems for yourself. Look at what the handlers have done now.
So by your definition, I know we are out of time. What is right? What is right for Professor Greg Ibe to do?
Take a part of honor and leave the sin, because he cannot go further with that certificate forgery. It is beyond him. Take a part of honor and get away from the sin, and apologize to the audience, apologize to the party for what he has done and done wrong.
Let's leave it here. Sir Chikwe Udensi, thanks so much for stopping by. I'm sure this is not going to be the last of it on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. C. Thanks for always having me.
And that's the size of our package. Stay on, because we have the news at 10. But the program returns same time, same station next week, talking about open parliament with Sir Chikwe Udensi. Stay with us.